Tonight.
It's important to figure out whether or not correlation in this case is causation.
What we know so far about the deaths of 2 people after donating plasma and the response from the for-profit company that operates the centers. Also tonight, absent in abundance.
There's something going on at home where they don't have the support that they need to be motivated to go to school.
Internal documents show just how many Manitoba kids are skipping out on their education and what may be driving the disparity. Plus, more places to play.
And can be reinvested in local parks and playgrounds.
How a new city strategy could use infill development to fund local recreation projects.
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. 2 people are dead in separate incidents after donating plasma for money in Winnipeg. Health Canada confirms a review is underway into the deaths which occurred over a 3-month span between October last year and January this year. The company that runs the operation says it doesn't believe the deaths are linked to the donations. With more on this, CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live. Jeff, what is Manitoba's health minister saying about this?
A lot. They say banning plasma for money is an option on the table. Donating plasma for money could be banned in Manitoba following 2 deaths.
All options will remain on the table. We're going to await the findings of the investigation.
Health Canada says it received reports of 2 deaths after plasma donations at 2 Winnipeg locations owned by Grifols. One on October 25th last year at this Taylor Avenue location, the other on January 30th of this year on Innovation Drive at the U of M. In a statement, Health Canada said it is important to clarify that the assessment of the reports is ongoing. No link has been made between the plasma donation process and the 2 deaths. Grifols sent CTV News a statement saying every donor undergoes an extensive health evaluation and physical examination before they can donate. Plasma donation is a low-risk procedure with thousands of people around the world safely donating every day. Based on the information available at this time, we have no reason to believe that there is a correlation between the donor's passing and plasma donation. According to Grifols' website, people can make up to $100 per donation, and donors can also be entered to win prizes. The province is not ruling out ending payment for plasma in Manitoba.
Banning paid plasma is on the table for our government. Our top priority is the safety and well-being of Manitobans.
A GoFundMe for one of the individuals who died identifies her as 22-year-old Rodiat Elabidi, an international student who had dreams of becoming a social worker.
Our priority is making sure that families get the answers that they need. So we have 2 Manitobans who have tragically passed away.
Advocacy group the Manitoba Health Coalition is calling for a ban on paid plasma donation in Manitoba.
Jeff, has any action at all been taken since these deaths?
Health Canada says yes. They say they conducted on-site visits at both Winnipeg locations where the incidents occurred to assess their compliance with blood regulations. They say they examined records of the incidents and verified operating procedures and that enough qualified staff were present.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. An update now to a story we brought you last night. Canadians tell CTV News it fired an employee involved in an incident at its Health Sciences Centre location. This video shows an Indigenous youth and his mother being removed from the hotel room they had been staying at while he recovered from surgery. Canadians today issued a statement saying the employee involved no longer works for the hotel and their actions did not follow established policies and procedures. Canadians says it's implementing additional training to ensure situations with guests are handled appropriately. Indigenous groups are calling for immediate action, including quarterly accountability meetings, regular engagement with medical navigators, and a culturally safe complaint system. A school in the West End was briefly put into a hold and secure today. A spokesperson for the Winnipeg School Division says John M. King School went into a hold and secure due to nearby police activity. It was lifted less than an hour later. Several police cruisers, uniformed officers, and members of the Tactical Support Unit could be seen nearby on Agnes Street. Officers were enforcing a search warrant in relation to an ongoing investigation and say there was no risk to public safety. Thousands of Manitoba kids are not going to school. That's what newly released numbers show. But those numbers were not made public by the province, and tonight an independent MLA is calling it a cover-up. To explain, CTV's Joseph Bernacki joins us live. So Joseph, what does this report show?
Marilee, it's called chronic severe absenteeism, and in the 2023-2024 school year, it affected more than 15,000 students. Ousted NDP MLA Mark Wasiliu made those numbers public this week, and he is calling for transparency. Thousands of Manitoba students are not showing up to class. That's according to a report independent MLA Mark Wasiliu released this week.
A lot of the roots of Manitoba problems start with youth not being in school, and if the government refuses to do this, what exactly are they doing?
He filed a Freedom of Information request but was told the data isn't collected. Wasiliu says he obtained the report from an undisclosed source within the NDP government.
They were horrified by the numbers, and that's why they shared this with me. I think they were concerned that the government wasn't taking this seriously.
It reports severe chronic absenteeism rates from kindergarten to grade 12 in every Manitoba school division for the 2023-2024 school year. Mallory Pledger is Director of Programming at Inner City Youth Alive. Her organization helps kids get back to class.
Chronic absenteeism is something students experience when there are multiple barriers keeping them from being engaged in the classroom.
The data shows 15,288 students in the province have severe chronic absenteeism, which means for high school they are missing 20 classes for K-8, 20% of the school days. When broken down for K-12, 61% of these students identify as Indigenous. In high school, 58%. Pledger says the data poses a real problem for high school graduation rates.
That is a cause for concern because it shows that there is something that's not being addressed within the Indigenous community.
On Thursday, Tracy Schmidt, Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning, said outcomes between Indigenous and non-Indigenous students are inequitable. She points to a $30 million investment in school nutrition as a driver to get kids back into class that was announced in 2024.
Everything that our government is doing is aimed at reducing that inequity. That starts with our universal nutrition program. That starts with treaty education for all. We're working very closely with school divisions across the province to identify what is driving absenteeism in their corner of the province.
The minister said she's concerned about the numbers, but stopped short of committing to releasing more data.
So, Joseph, when you asked the minister why those numbers weren't released, what were you told?
Marilee, that was the big question that Mark Wasiliu asked right from the start. Why are the numbers not public? Minister Schmidt didn't directly answer, but said data collection is very important as a way to help school divisions bring down absenteeism. She said it's an ongoing conversation between the province and school administrations across Manitoba.
All right. Thanks for this, Joseph. A policing expert told the inquest into the death of Aisha Hudson the police officer involved in the shooting took appropriate action. Use of force expert Chris Butler testified the officer was right to use lethal force. He said officers did not have a lot of time to respond when the Jeep being driven by Hudson crashed into a truck in 2020. He also said police would have wanted to stop the vehicle from moving, and other lives could have been in danger if they waited. The police officer who shot Hudson has testified he believed it was moving towards other officers. The inquest is looking at whether systemic racism played a role in Hudson's death and if the use of force was appropriate. A new proposal at City Hall would see some of the property taxes gathered from infill developments reinvested back into the community. If successful, the plan would see 80% of property taxes collected from new 2, 3, or 4 unit homes directed into a new fund called the Neighborhood Infill Benefits Reserve. That money would then be used for local amenities like parks or recreation areas. Local organizations would also be able to apply for a share of that money. The reserve fund would be in place for 5 years, initially with an option to extend.
These funds replace what used to be a 10% cash in lieu contribution that developers would make, and area councillors could use those funds to upgrade parks and playgrounds. Well, now with the new as of right rules, that 10% is not available anymore. This new Neighborhood Infill Benefit Reserve Fund would recapture some of those revenues.
The Public Service estimates it would collect anywhere between $136,000 and $490,000 a year. The Executive Policy Committee will discuss the plan Tuesday. Spring is on the way, and the Leisure Guide is now out to help you plan your activities. The City of Winnipeg's Spring Summer Leisure Guide, along with skating and swimming brochures, are now available online. Registration for all activities except for summer swimming start on Tuesday, March 24th at 8 a.m. for Winnipeg residents, and then 2 days later for those who live out of town. You can register online by calling 311 or in person at certain locations. The summer swimming brochure will be released on June 4th with registration to follow on the 16th. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. It's not looking too much like spring outside our downtown windows tonight.
Winter is saying, hold on a moment, please. I'm not done with you just yet. That Alberta Clipper has arrived. It's actually spread snow pretty quickly across the southern Manitoba. Watching this on radar this afternoon. Now, there are parts of southern Manitoba under a blowing snow advisory issued by Environment and Climate Change Canada. Winnipeg itself not under the advisory, but the rest of the Red River Valley is to the south, and you can see south central areas too, and then out into the southeast corner. So we'll have some very strong winds that will be accompanying this snow as it passes through over the next few hours. And it really, as clippers do, will move on out pretty quickly. The snow will stop falling, but it will continue blowing into the overnight hours. I'll show you what that could look like for the commute tomorrow, and then of course a look ahead to Friday and the weekend. Let's take a look first through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution in Winnipeg right now with the snow falling. It is -3 degrees. Light winds at the airport anyway, but it will be much windier elsewhere. Winds out of the east-northeast there at 16 kilometers an hour. The wind chill feels like -8. The pressure is dropping and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 92%.
Thanks, Colleen. Mounties are asking for your help after several firearms were stolen from a home in a rural area northeast of Winnipeg last week. RCMP say the break-in at a home along Highway 44 in the RM of St. Clements was reported Sunday and would have happened sometime in the previous 48 hours. The thief or thieves found a key to a gun safe and made off with 13 long guns. They include 6 pump-action shotguns, 3 bolt-action rifles, 2 semi-automatic rifles, and a .50 caliber muzzleloader, along with ammunition. RCMP say some other items were also stolen, including snowmobile gear and tools. Anyone with information is asked to contact Selkirk RCMP or Crime Stoppers. An election in Manitoba isn't scheduled until October of next year, but political parties have already started laying some of the groundwork. The NDP government has introduced a bill in the legislature which would require candidates to reveal in writing whether they've been found to have broken the conflict of interest law. 3 progressive conservatives in the former government were found to have done that in relation to a proposed silica sand mine in 2023. Meanwhile, the Tories have revealed one of its upcoming campaign promises will be a sharp increase in the amount of income people can earn before being subject to income tax.
Is one that will actually leave $3,000 in your bank accounts. If you have a family earning $80,000, you will save $3,000. Not a rebate, $3,000 back into your pockets, making life more affordable, helping to pay for the astronomical increases under this NDP government. You wanted real solutions? We provided you with one.
However, don't expect this change anytime soon. Khan says the NDP have rejected their resolution. The Manitoba government is planning to expand rent control, set new rules for grocers, and charge higher electricity rates for some large users.
That's why we are taking historical action to lower rents in Manitoba with the largest expansion of rent control in decades.
Among more than a dozen bills and regulations put forward is one which would expand the province's rent control system, which sets a limit on annual rent increases. Units that rent for more than $1,670 are currently exempt, and the government is planning to raise the exemption to $2,000. A bill on grocery prices would forbid sellers, whether in-store or online, from using customers' personal data to charge higher prices. The government is also planning to charge cryptocurrency operations and large-scale data centers up to double the normal electricity rate. Finance Minister Adrian Salas says the move would ensure large users pay their share for the energy grid. He's also proposing to curtail power for crypto mining operations during periods of high energy demand. The Manitoba government has introduced a bill which would ban suppliers from keeping repair parts private. Manufacturers and sellers of consumer products would have to ensure any parts, tools, software, and manuals needed for repairs are publicly available. Details about which goods will be covered and how long parts need to remain available are expected to come later. The opposition Progressive Conservatives say this bill should include items such as farm machinery. A new center will help support Indigenous mothers and their babies through the first months of life.
The goal is simple but powerful: to support mothers so that they can keep their babies.
The province is providing $2.5 million to Blue Thunderbird Family Care to purchase and renovate a property to create a new mothering center. The 6-bedroom home will provide space for mothers and children before birth and after, along with a shared kitchen and dining space and community-led support programming. Mothers and their babies will be able to live at the center for 3 to 6 months.
It represents a shift from apprehension to prevention and to support. Its systems change, but at the most human level. Because when a mother reconnects to community, that strength carries forward to all of us.
The Mothering Center is expected to start welcoming families there this summer.
This is extremely alarming.
Preparing for a potential terrorist attack. Why the first wave may already be underway. New banking rules which kick in today could save you hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Non-sufficient funds fees, also known as NSFs, are charged when there isn't enough money in an account to cover a payment. That fee is now capped at $10 for personal deposit accounts. Banks also can't charge more than one NSF fee within 2 business days on the same account. And the fee can't be applied if the shortfall is under $10,000. The federal government says the changes are expected to save Canadians more than $600 million every year. Turning to the markets now, crude oil jumped nearly $8.50. The loonie fell to 73.44 cents U.S. Gold futures lost $53. The Nasdaq dropped 279 points. The Dow Jones plunged 739 points, while the Nasdaq fell 404 points. A Winnipeg man is charged and 4 migrants have been arrested in connection to an alleged illegal border crossing. RCMP reported seeing a migrant crossing about 10 kilometers west of Emerson back on December 5th. Officers say they then spotted a vehicle while out conducting patrols, but the driver sped away. Officers eventually stopped the vehicle, which led to the driver's arrest. Mounties found 4 migrants nearby the vehicle and arrested them. A 31-year-old man from Winnipeg is charged under the Immigration and Refugee Protection Act. A frightening few hours today after a car filled with what appears to be mortars rammed into a synagogue near Detroit. Inside that building was a school and a daycare which had small children inside. The attack comes as the U.S. president is briefed on the possible activation of Iranian sleeper cells. CTV's Joy Melvin reports.
A massive police presence outside a Michigan synagogue. An armed gunman reportedly tried to ram a car packed with explosives into Temple, Israel, containing a school and young children. The gunman tackled by security and is now dead.
Any ties potentially to terrorism?
That's still way early to talk about. We have no idea because we don't even know who the person is at the moment.
No one was hurt seriously, but the FBI is on high alert, and so are faith institutions, worried that the war in Iran has come home. Yesterday, pro-Iranian hackers claimed credit for a cyber attack on Stryker, a Michigan medical technology company, wiping out laptops and mobile devices. The group claimed it was retaliation for the missile attack on the Iranian school that killed children. Early military reports suggest the U.S. was likely responsible. And the FBI warned police of a potential surprise drone attack against unspecified targets in California, and that the drones would come from an unidentified vessel off the coast of the United States homeland.
This is extremely alarming. We know that Iran's approach to combating the United States and Israel is through asymmetric warfare.
U.S. intelligence also issued alerts about potential Iranian sleeper cells of proxies that could be activated.
Well, without question, we had intelligence that indicated that Iran was in fact establishing these kinds of cells when I was director of the CIA. So I'm sure they continue to do that.
The president last night.
We know where most of them are. We've got our eye on all of them, I think.
FBI Director Kash Patel has placed counterterrorism teams on high alert, concerned that Iran will try to retaliate, especially at places of worship. Joy Malvin, CTV News, Washington.
In Virginia, a gunman is dead and 2 people have been injured after a shooting at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. It's not clear how the shooter died, but police identified him as a former Army National Guard member with a past terrorism conviction. Anyone planning to book a flight in the coming weeks may see a noticeable increase in prices. This as the war in the Middle East impacts the cost of jet fuel. Industry analysts are warning of significant fare increases in the coming months. They say if the cost of jet fuel remains high, prices for an international flight could increase by up to $200. It's unclear how domestic flights might be impacted, as airlines could try to minimize impacts. In a statement to CTV News, WestJet said rising jet fuel prices have already made operating flights more expensive. Air Canada and Porter Airlines both issued statements saying it's too early to forecast how ticket prices might be affected. Today, the federal government introduced new legislation it says will give police and CSIS new power to access evidence online and act on it more quickly. It's the second attempt from this government at advancing what's called a lawful access regime after being forced back to the drawing board due to major pushback from privacy advocates. CTV's Rachel Aiello has the details.
Today, the federal Liberals tabled new legislation proposing a new lawful access regime that would give law enforcement and federal security officials new powers.
This new legislation, Bill C-22, balances the needs of law enforcement with the privacy and civil rights that Canadians demand.
Bill C-22, if passed, would require telecommunications companies to provide basic information about suspected criminals. It would also allow Canadian police to make requests of major foreign social media and AI companies.
It is not about surveillance of Canadians going on about their daily lives. It is about keeping Canadians safe in the online space.
The government says police and CSIS officers need these new tools to keep up with advances in technology, increasingly sophisticated criminal behavior, and to remain aligned with other Five Eyes countries.
Lawful access currently is as important as forensics is.
Some of the key and critical components of this proposed legislation allow us to advance our investigations where previously there was no pathway forward.
The bill also proposes to revamp warrant powers for computer searches, impose monetary or regulatory penalties on companies that fail to comply, and grant the minister new powers to compel electronic service providers to develop capabilities.
30 years ago, every investigative room in this country had a phone book. The world has changed, and the home address now is an IP address, and the phone number is some mobile phone, a burner phone.
A previous version of this legislation was halted over blowback from civil liberty groups and opposition MPs, who said it was overly broad, intrusive, and risked infringing Canadians' privacy.
I think Canadians should always be concerned when the government is trying to get access to information that reveals private information about us. This version of the bill does a far better job of narrowing the type of information they can get and under what circumstances.
Senior government officials who briefed reporters on the bill insisted this version includes robust safeguards and upholds charter protections. The minister responsible is now calling on the other parties to help pass it quickly. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
More money could be earmarked for the redevelopment of the Marlborough Hotel if a proposal at City Hall is approved. Centre Venture Development Corporation is requesting an additional $5 million from the Housing Accelerator Fund. The project includes converting the 110-year-old heritage building into 307 housing units. The development would also include bars, restaurants, even a Skyview banquet hall. 40 affordable units would also be included. The Executive Policy Committee will vote on the matter Tuesday. A planned redevelopment in the Exchange District could be getting a financial boost from the city. The Public Service is recommending the city provide nearly $1.5 million in tax increment financing for the project at 291 Bannatyne Avenue. It aims to create 9 new stories at the top of the Sanford Building and Moss Garage. It's slated to include more than 100 residential units and dozens of heated indoor parking spaces. The Public Service notes the project meets several criteria to be eligible eligible for the funding, including the fact it would add residential and commercial space to the downtown, and because it's a heritage building.
Esophagus cancer is a very serious cancer, and it can be a devastating diagnosis.
But there's new hope thanks to some local research. We'll tell you how a clinical trial at Cancer Care is making a huge difference.
And a bright but cool weekend for Winnipeg to start off the long-range forecast. Saturday, a mix of sun and cloud, a high of just -9. We should be getting closer to -2. But it's more these overnight lows that will catch your eye. -22 degrees on Saturday night. That's right. Well below normal. Yeah, -11 on Sunday. Mostly sunny, down to -26 Sunday night. -11 again on Monday. Sunshine. A few flurries for our leaf and leprechaun there on St. Patrick's Day. Tuesday, -8 degrees. Back up to -2 by Wednesday.
Cancer has been called the scourge of the 20th century, and even now in the 21st, the disease continues to claim lives. Slowly but surely, though, medical research is beginning to turn the tide. And as CTV's John Hendricks shows you, a clinical trial at Cancer Care allowed a Manitoba woman to beat the same illness that killed her father.
Karen Formo came back from a relaxing vacation in Mexico and was soon dropped into a stressful situation. A situation that began with something quite common, a bowl of soup.
I got a piece of meat stuck in my esophagus, and I couldn't get it out.
Formo had to get a scope, and after a biopsy, she got horrible news. She had stage 3 esophageal cancer.
I was totally in shock.
And not just because she had cancer, but because it was esophageal cancer, the very same cancer that killed her father when he was around the same age that she was at diagnosis.
Esophagus cancer is a very serious cancer, and it can be a devastating diagnosis. It's considered one of the most aggressive types of cancer, partly because it's caught late.
I just had to grasp it and figure out how I was going to navigate through all this.
She went through 5 weeks of chemotherapy and 23 rounds of radiation, and then a groundbreaking clinical trial at Cancer Care Manitoba. First, she had a minimally invasive surgery.
Basically, trying to core out the cancer from the inside without having to rearrange the body parts.
And then, over the next year, Formo would get an innovative type of immunotherapy, where her own immune system was trained to fight her specific type of cancer. It's a treatment that didn't exist when her father was battling the disease, but it was available for patients like her thanks to a grant from the Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation.
And without that, actually, this trial would have never seen the light of day.
Luckily, the trial was able to go ahead, and today, Formo is cancer-free.
It feels great, but I owe it all to cancer research and Dr. Kadani.
John Hendricks, CTV News, Winnipeg.
More Tomorrows Together is brought to you by Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation. CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady is back now with an update on that Alberta Clipper she's tracking.
Well, really, depending on where you are, different amounts of snow are expected. It looks like the heaviest amount should be closer to the Red River Valley, closer to the international border, where 5 to 10 centimeters is forecast. Here in Winnipeg, it's less, 2 to 4. Out in Brandon, the expectation was 2 to 4 centimeters will have fallen. And that snow is starting to leave the Brandon area now. Drifting snow reporting there. But we have this yellow advisory for blowing snow that continues. I'll step off and show you the affected areas. Winnipeg, again, not under the advisory, but areas south in the Red River Valley are, as well as south central Manitoba, and then also into the southeast corner. We could see some pretty strong north or northeast winds develop tonight, with wind gusts up to 70-80 kilometers an hour well into the overnight hours. That could reduce visibility down to near zero if you do have any driving, particularly on highways tonight to do. I'll zoom in on Winnipeg and show you really that snow is really just covering the city, and then it drops off to the north. But it is still expected to fall further north as well, including into Gimli. Also east into northwestern Ontario later on tonight. It should reach you. Also areas further north contending with a little bit of light snow as well, a separate system there, but areas like Gillam and Churchill could see 2 to 4 centimeters tonight as well. But back down here in the south, looking at that snow associated with that Alberta Clipper, it's not just snow. You can see there a little bit of freezing rain was popping up, but as we move throughout the evening, you see this moves along pretty quickly, as clippers tend to do. So the snow will only be falling for a few hours. As I mentioned, it's already starting to stop falling out in the southwest. Winnipeg and the Red River Valley will be late tonight, but again, those winds expected to blow around that snow that will have freshly fallen through the overnight hours. But as we get into the commute time tomorrow, winds will still be strong and gusty, but not as strong as the overnight hours. So still just be vigilant when you're out on the roads, of course, and highways for your commute tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, that snow is going to push off further and further off to the east. On Friday, we'll see some clearing in a lot of areas. You'll see some sunshine across much of the north. We'll get some sunshine returning here in the south. And then we head into that chilly weekend I was showing you, but it will be bright on that's the upside of higher pressure. Minus 14 tonight for Winnipeg with that snow and blowing snow. Winds at their strongest out of the north at 40, gusting to 60. North winds tomorrow morning for the commute should be sunny, minus 13 degrees, mix of sun and cloud in the afternoon, up to minus 8. Again, with those winds staying strong and gusty out of the north as that low departs. Light snow tonight, as I mentioned, for Churchill, Gillam, also for Island Lake and Thompson. Thompson down to minus 30 tonight, a mix of sun and cloud there, and minus 19. Churchill, sunny and windy. Clearing tonight, Lynn Lake dropping down to minus 32. Light snow for the rest of the region ending this evening, and then tomorrow more light snow headed your way up to about minus 16 for the Paw and Norway House. That snow ending now for Brandon and Neepawa, down to minus 17 there, and then tomorrow sunshine for Brandon, minus 8. Some light snow still for Swan River, minus 11. Winnipeg in the southeast, that snow coming through now for a few hours. Overnight lows between minus 11 and minus 14. Sunshine or a mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. Highs around minus 7 to minus 9 degrees. And in northwestern Ontario, snow tonight. It will continue into tomorrow morning, and then you'll see some clearing as you get into your afternoon with mild highs between minus 4 and minus 1. Our first weather photo takes us out along the winter road between Tatasquiac Cree Nation and York Factory First Nation up in northern Manitoba. That lovely shot is from Teresa. And this fella is Winkler, just out enjoying some last few river walks and some last sniffs, Susan says, along that stretch along the LaSalle River. Send us your weather photos to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. Winnipeg Jets head coach Scott Arniel is hoping to rewind the clock tonight and get his team playing the way it did before Tuesday's 4-1 loss to Anaheim.
Just get back to doing what we were doing prior to that Anaheim game. You know, we were fast. We were, we were hard to play against. We were, doing a lot of good things when we didn't have the puck. That was closing quick to get it back. And then offensively, we were doing a real good job of playing fast and attacking the net. So it's not like we haven't done it in a while. We had that one the other night, like you said, we've moved on from it and get back to playing how we were playing recently.
The Jets made a strong showing after the Olympic break, in most cases not giving up more than a goal or two. The exception being the game against the Anaheim Ducks in February and then again on Tuesday, which was the team's first regulation loss in 7 games. Tonight, the team is up against the struggling New York Rangers, who are 4-4-2 in their last 10 games and are sitting 2 points behind Winnipeg in the overall league standings. It's also going to be a milestone game for D-man Dylan DeMello, who is set to mark his 700th career game.
I feel like each year, try to evolve in all aspects, but I think just being that steady presence on the back end, calming influence, got to take care of his own end and can kind of pitch in on the offense when it's called upon. I just like to pride myself on a hardworking player and honest player and a guy that tries to do whatever he can to help the team win.
Puck drop at Canada Life Centre goes at 7 o'clock.
The Hockey Report, brought to you by Santa Lucia Pizza. Check out the game day special.
If you don't recognize it on time, that has a domino effect.
Coming up, testing of Lyme disease is difficult, but there are testing a new device that could be a game changer. Stay with us. Staggering new statistics tonight around child sexual exploitation online is stopping parents in their tracks. Since 2014, reports here in Canada have jumped by 347%. Joining me now to discuss is Jacques Marcoux with the Canadian Centre for Child Protection. Jacques, great to speak with you.
Thanks for having me.
I mean, when you look at these stats, it is a massive jump. How concerning is this for you?
It's concerning for my entire team. When we saw the number yesterday, it really jumped out. It also it reflects a lot of what we see coming in through cybertip.ca, the tip line that we operate. Some of those increases are kind of reflected in the numbers that we see as well, yeah, it should concern everyone, not just our team, all Canadians.
Yeah, good point, because a couple of other standout stats in this report include a new all-time high for online luring in 2024, up 65% in a single year, and the fact girls account for 78% of victims. Do you think parents are aware of just how big this problem is and the risk their kids face online today?
You know, I don't think enough parents recognize the potential risk. I think that a staggering amount of people have experienced this and there are parents out there who have had to deal with the fallout of these types of things. But I think there's a lot of people who might kind of be lucky in that they haven't had to deal with these situations, and there might be a bit of a false sense of security when we're on these platforms, because a lot of this does happen. And the numbers we see from StatsCan, these numbers only represent those that came to the attention of police, where maybe the victim came forward, right? We know that there's a big percentage that's bigger than these numbers of kids who are living these experiences and are being victimized online and never tell anyone.
Yeah, really frightening when you bring that up, but true enough. Nearly 17,000 incidents were reported to police in 2024. Are our laws against this activity proving to be deterrent enough in this country?
So in that report, there's one statistic that I do want to bring up, and it's the fact that about 75% or 90%, depending on what crime we're looking at, most of these crimes go unsolved. Charges are never laid. And the reasons that is that these are very complex crimes. And most of the places where these happen, these platforms, they're not based in Canada. Most of these are platforms that are based in the US or elsewhere. And often the offenders aren't based in Canada as well. They might be based somewhere halfway across the world. So if you're, local police in a small town or in a mid-sized city in Canada, and this is the report that comes forward, you can imagine the complexities of trying to investigate and get to the bottom of a case like this, where you're dealing with data requests and offenders who aren't even on Canadian soil. So there's a lot of complexities involved with these types of cyber crimes. And, I think an evolution in the laws is helpful. And there actually was a bill just today introduced, just actually hours ago, that would modify and simplify some of that processes for law enforcement. But it also reminds us that we can't police our way out of these problems. There's too many. So we also have to, in the broader conversation, think about online safety legislation that imposes requirements on the platforms themselves to make sure that these things don't happen.
For the parents out there, hearing about this for the first time, maybe, what is your advice? How do they best protect their kids?
So the parents we deal with who come in through the tip line, we find in most cases they're actually quite vigilant. They do things like parental controls. They talk to their kids. And despite that, these things still happen. So I think that it's important for parents to know that there are things you can do, but it's not all on parents to deal with this problem, because it's your kid and it's you against the world and against tech companies who make sometimes environments that are inherently dangerous or that can amplify some of these risks. So, parents are doing what they can, and I think that the shared responsibility of making this problem go away is maybe not being shared fairly. And I think parents, they should know that we have their back, and that if they need support or their kid needs support, they can come to cybertip.ca for help. But yeah, I think most Canadian parents are actually working quite hard at trying to keep their kids safe online.
Well, Jacques, we thank you for sharing those tips and raising the awareness tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Thank you.
A new device being developed by Guelph University researchers is promising new hope for people with Lyme disease. It uses biosensors to diagnose the disease as early as possible. CTV's Pauline Chan has the details.
Diagnosing Lyme disease has been a challenge for decades. It's easy if you spot the telltale bullseye rash in the earliest stages of infection, but others will have to rely on a two-tier diagnostic test after other illnesses have been ruled out.
What that basically means is that it's looking at the patient's immune response for evidence that it's seen the pathogen.
So it doesn't detect the Lyme bacteria, only whether your immune system has ever reacted to it. If the bacteria has not been in your system long enough for an immune response, you'll get a false negative. And if you had Lyme long ago, but then had another more recent infection, the test is also useless. But a new device, known for now as the Lyme biosensor, promises to revolutionize Lyme testing by looking for the bacterium itself.
We see it as finding a needle in a haystack.
It's hiding. And so there's typically not enough material to trigger a positive on these biochemical or molecular assays. So that's why we've been stuck in this immunological model of testing for Lyme disease.
It only takes a fraction of a drop of blood for their test.
So that blood goes on a specially prepared surface. That surface, scientific term for that surface is called semiconductor.
The semiconductor, like those used in electronic devices, is extremely sensitive, enough to detect the Lyme disease-causing bacteria, Borrelia burgdorferi.
The sensor is the product of an absolutely brilliant platform. The biosensing device itself was developed by Dr. Gil Shalev at Ben-Gurion University. I have a tremendous sense of optimism with this test. We want people to know that we believe it's possible for this type of intervention to come to market eventually and to make a big difference in the lives of Canadians.
It is still under development at the University of Guelph, but eventually they hope to have small biosensors widely available at hospitals and doctors' clinics. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic. Spotlight sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting High Valley.
We've just learned Winnipeg will host the biggest night in Canadian music next year. That's right, the Juno Awards are returning to our city in 2027. The award show was last held here in 2014 and in 2005 before that. The 56th annual Juno Week will take place from April 1st to 4th, culminating in the award show at Canada Life Centre. The Canadian Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences says the Junos can generate up to $17 million in economic activity for the host city. The Canadian Museum for Human Rights is looking for an artist to help set the scene of a new permanent exhibit. The exhibit is called At the Knees of Our Ancestors and explores the history and enslavement and early Black life in Canada. The museum is looking for illustrators of African descent with ancestry here in Canada. The successful applicant will be tasked with creating about 20 original portraits or scene-based artworks for the exhibit. They may be asked to depict historical events or settings where no pictures exist. You can head to humanrights.ca for more information on how to apply. At the Knees of Our Ancestors is expected to open in the fall. An Oscar-winning actress may be headed to Middle Earth.
It's really, really wonderful to be here.
Kate Winslet is reportedly in talks to join The Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum. The film is expected in theaters in December 2027. It takes place between The Hobbit and the Fellowship of the Ring and follows Aragorn's quest to find Gollum and prevent the ring from falling into enemy hands. Andy Serkis returns as Gollum and is also directing the film. Sir Ian McKellen will reprise his role as Wizard Gandalf, and Elijah Wood is back as Frodo Baggins. Your primetime lineup kicks off with a culinary competition. Next Level Chef starts at 7, 911 is at 8, and Catch Grey's Anatomy at 9. George and Mandy's First Marriage wraps it all up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy immigration agent. How this fox managed to make it across an ocean on his own.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Well, we did manage to get all the way up to 0 today for a high temperature. 2016, the record for this day, 12.2 degrees. Snow and strong winds tonight will create blowing snow. The snow will continue for the next few hours down to -14. Mix of sun and cloud Friday, Saturday, sunshine, but colder on the weekend, Marilee.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, there are a few ways to visit New York City if you'd like to, but U.S. border officials helped deal with a recent unexpected stowaway from the UK. The Bronx Zoo is currently taking care of this red fox. It was discovered on board a ship that had sailed from Southampton, England. Wildlife conservation experts say the animal was brought to them after his arrival in February, and, well, sometimes animals are trafficked across the ocean. They've confirmed this fox made his own way onto the vessel. They're now searching for a long-term home for the fox. He's probably just as surprised as they are.
Well, or his wanderlust, I don't know. Yeah.
Probably went for some food or something.
Yeah.
All right, that does it for us this hour. Drive safe if you're out there tonight. I'll see you back here tomorrow.